Research has shown that globally, every country's economic status is dependent on the economic policies made by its government. The case of Ghana is not different. In the past 2 decades, Ghana as a country has been faced with economic challenges, and governments have made conscious effort to resolve these challenges as that when they come by implementing economic policies. Now, let me state emphatically that Ghanaians as a people have exercised their dissatisfaction to government for not meeting expectations economically by voting them out during elections. And so on the background of this, government, when in power, have made conscious efforts to formulate fiscal policies and supporting them by budgetary allocation to see to it that expectations of Ghanaians are met. The recent government, under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has done something similar. We saw last year when they presented the 2025 budget. They've done another thing this year. And so in recent times, we've seen the Honorable Minister for Finance, Honorable Kesela Toforsen, present the 2026 budget in Parliament. After the presentation, Ghanaians are divided into two fronts. There is the front that believes that, yes, indeed, the Honorable Atoforsen is forcing. And then there's also another angle, or the other front, who believe that these formulated policies may not necessarily drive Ghana to make its impact or the expected impact economically. Now, this is what I have to say. The macroeconomic digests that have been presented by the Honorable Minister may not necessarily mean anything if it does not have a direct impact on the lives of the average Ghanaians. I am sure that you out there also believe same. Now, don't worry yourself. This is the national agenda, and you know how we do it on the national agenda. We discuss all pressing national issues, and today we are going to discuss the 2026 budget that was presented in Parliament by the Honorable Kesela Toforsen. And so I have two gentlemen with me in the studio to help me discuss this issue. Stick and stay with us. We'll come your way one more time with all the details. We'll delve into it and then let you uncover all the issues that probably you did not know. Yes, we are back. This is the national agenda, and my name is Samuel Fobi Bampo. And you know, on the national agenda, we discuss all the pressing national issues. Today, we are discussing the 2026 budget that was read in Parliament recently. And so in the studios, have Daniel Frimpong, who is a PA to the NPP's National Treasurer, Dr. Jamina. And also I have Nazil Saeed, yes, who will be doing the honors by speaking in favor of the incumbent government. Gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you in the studio today.
Good to be here.
The last time we had a meeting was very impactful, and I mean, our audience were very satisfied. So we hope and pray that today you do us the honors by breaking things down for us so that we appreciate the matters very well. Yes, so let's go straight into the matter on the table. We have seen government upon government in this country formulate fiscal policies. We've seen government being voted out of power because of some fiscal policies they formulated that Ghanaians felt didn't really churn out the kind of impact they expected. Now, let me just go straight to you, Nazil. Is this going to be like all the others we have seen in times past?
Thank you very much, Samuel Fobi. First of all, I'd like to send out greetings to over 35 million well-meaning Ghanaians. This cannot be the same. I mean, in the past, we've listened to budgets that were filled with Bible quotations from Genesis to Revelation, which didn't seem to benefit the average Ghanaian. Today, we have a budget that has been properly themed, resetting Ghana for growth, jobs, and economic transformation. And believe you me, this is a talk and do government. And just as the president has said, you're going to see some monumental things being done in this country. So as and when you come back, we'll delve deep into this budget and we'll look at some of the highlights that we can take from this budget.
Right. So that's very fine. Danny, are you also asserting to the fact or you believe otherwise?
You know my position. This budget.
What is your position? I don't
My
know.
position is that this budget is a Dankodada budget. There's nothing in there that is new. It's the same lamentation that Ato did the last time. The same thing he did.
You mean there's nothing different?
There's nothing different. And when we go into it, I'll let you know. That's not what they promised us when they were campaigning in 2024.
Okay.
And that's not what we are seeing.
So wait, on that, what were the promises that they made?
So you
Thank
and
you for
I
asking
know,
him for
you
that.
and I know that one of the paramount things Ghanaian need right now is the youth for the
job for the
job
youth.
for the youth of this country. And that's not what we are seeing.
But we've seen the government
why
launch.
is the flagship program, the 24-hour economy they promised the Ghanaians? Why is it? Why is it? When they went to parliament, do you know the allocation they made for the 24-hour economy? Gusi Tando, who is the director of the 24-hour economy, he said they need 4 billion Ghana cedis to do the 24-hour economy. And when they went to parliament, look into the budget and tell me how much allocation they did.
You
24
may
it
have
was
to tell us.
110
110
million Ghana
million
cedis.
Ghana cedis.
It means not even 10% of that allocation was given to 24-hour economy. It means how they don't prioritize what they use, their flagship program they campaign on.
They campaign on. Okay.
So it means the Ghanaian youth, we are doomed. We don't have any hope. That's not what they promised us. They are doing otherwise of what they promised. And when you talk, they just go with the rhetorics are too read at the parliament.
You call them rhetorics.
It is completely
but
rhetorics.
we've also seen in recent times that we've seen where the president launched the Jumeirah project, which is aimed at giving over 10,000 Ghanaians
So is it a
the opportunity.
sustainable job opportunity for the people? When the young people came to power, we gave these people, these people we took them to Independence Square, NACO. Was it sustainable? Where is NACO now? That's the same thing they are doing. You should give Ghanaian youth a sustainable job. You can't tell me Ajumara and we did when the NDC leave power today, any government that comes, that's the end of Ajumara. It's not sustainable job for the youth. So they should spare us the rhetoric.
All right. So Danny, that's fair. Nazo, let me come back to you. I have always been of the perception that the microeconomic figures that have been given by the Honorable Minister may seem meaningless, especially if it is not having any direct impact on the behavior of the average Ghanaian or the well-being of the average Ghanaian. And so I am always skeptical when I see figures, when I see allocations being made. I just want to ask, how are we going to see these figures that have been stated out clear impact on the lives of the average Ghanaians?
Thank you very much, Ofobi. So when you listen to any economist, one of the fundamental arguments they raise, or from the basic economics we did in our senior high schools and even in tertiary, you are told that it takes a while to see the ripple effect of macroeconomic indicators inside the micro indicators, such that, for instance, inflation rate and what have you being twitched down. It will take a while before you find the ripple effect on the market. Even as of today, we see the dwindling price of rice, oil, and other products on the market. So eventually, I wouldn't say immediately, but eventually it will take a period before the rippling effect takes place. Now, I'll take this opportunity to also delve into the budget. Danny has talked at length talking about this budget being of rhetoric and what have you, but you leave the average discerning Ghanaian to make that decision after we delve deep into this. I like us to first of all take as a back to understand what this government inherited, which is premising the context of this budget and how appreciative the average Ghanaian would find this budget. We're in this country where this country was touted a debt-stricken country, completely mediocre and crippled economy. The public debt as of December 2024 of this country was around 720 billion. 122 billion was what the ex-Wal NDC government in 2016 left. The former government has been characterized with wasteful expenditure, some of which are evident in our country. The most expensive hole in our part of the world, 97 million. Unsustainable jobs. I was happy he mentioned
You
it
mean the
himself.
National Cathedral?
The National Cathedral, 97 million. Imagine what 97 million could do for this country. I'm grateful that he mentioned that they created a venture that was unsustainable. Over 4 billion cities invested in NABCO, which isn't the same part we are going to apply. Our international ratings, very terrible. We're ranked as having one of the worst currencies somewhere in 2022. We're swamped with taxes in this country, from betting, emission, e-levy, and what have you, up until just yesterday when we abolished the COVID levy. We recorded the second highest all-time inflation ever recorded in this country, around 54% in this country. We didn't say anything. That is why on December 7th, we took them out. All-time high food inflation, 122% in 2022. That was what we were faced with. Ofobi, the World Bank African Pulse Report, October 2022, declared Ghana's currency as the worst performing currency. Up until last August, Bloomberg and World Bank also rated us as the best performing currency under the good work of his Honorable Dr. Kesela Atuforse. We're doing debt to GDP of over 90%, approximately 93 to 94%. That is the kind of country we were living in. Ofobi, exchange rates, the most popular quote from our former vice president: if the fundamentals are weak, the macroeconomic indicators of the country were very poor, and as such, we saw an exchange rate of almost 17 cedis to a dollar. I mean, what is the situation today? Are we in the same hole? Obviously not. Today, based on the prudent management of the economy, we are doing an exchange rate. We inherited 14.7. Today, this morning, according to the Bank of Ghana, we are doing 10.9. Isn't this laudable? Which, as of this, the kind of public debt they left for us at 722 billion, based on just prudent management of the economy in the reduction of the exchange rate alone, is saving us a significant amount. Now, our public debt has reduced to 630 billion. This is how much Atuforsen has saved this country. Fuel prices. In this country, we saw diesel rise up to 23 cedis per liter of fuel. Diesel. Super was around 17. As a young boy graduating from the university at that time, I had to park my vehicle alongside my colleagues on campus. Very devastated. Today, even with the introduction of the 1 cedi levy on petroleum products, as of this morning, Goil is selling super at 14.8 cedis and diesel somewhere at 11 cedis or so. Inflation today is 8%, in as much as the finance minister projected to do 11%. Unlike the second all-time high 54% we saw in the former government. Food inflation in itself is doing 26.5%, which is very laudable. We are doing debt to GDP around 60%. August 2025, Bloomberg rated our currency as the best performing currency. Very good. Currently, we have over 4 months of import cover. We are doing an interest rate. Under their regime, we were doing around 27%. Today, we are doing 21%. The cedi from year to date, as of November 2024 to today, we are doing, about 35% appreciation in the cedi. If this continues to the end of the year, it will be a record. It has been unprecedented. Averagely, we see a 14% increase, average appreciation of the cedi, which has never happened. This year, Dr. Kesela Atuforsen is doing 35%. These are the macroeconomic indicators that we lived in before, and this is where the current government has brought us. So as I said, I'll leave the discerning Ghanaian to make sense out of these statistics. Now permit me, as I delve into this budget, the good news budget, the gospel according to Honorable Dr.
What do you mean if you say good news?
I mean, just as I mentioned, this is the proper gospel. We listen to gospel. Bible quotations, Genesis to Revelations, it didn't do us any good. Undertones of that budget were as being clustered with different levels of taxes, which never did any good for us. Today, all these taxes have been scrapped. Permit me to delve into some of the highlights of this budget. Before this budget was brought to the parliament, in the presentation of the finance minister, he made some wild revelations about some of the audits that he had to do, halting payments. I remember, if you all could also remember, at the start of the year, many people were making noise that the government is not spending and we are not paying contractors. Let me blow your mind. There were about 68 million in payables that the Ministry of Finance had to release. Upon assumption of office of the minister, he asked that all these payments be halted. Now, only 47.8 of this 68 billion were validated as legitimate claims. 10.4 billion were rejected based on one issue or the other. They were recycled IPCs, that's the interim
IPCs,
payment certificate, falsified
IPCs.
receipts, already paid sums and what have you, forged invoices and what have you. The finance minister saved us over 10.4 billion. And there's going to be more audits in different sectors of the economy. And this report is going to come out from the Auditor General in the coming week, as he has promised.
I mean, I heard in an interview where he made these claims that you are making, and even went on to state emphatically that the Attorney General will take.
Yeah, they have to
Yes,
recommend
push
some of these
through,
cases
yes.
to the Attorney General. So one of the biggest projects that this country will ever witness, the Accra Kumasi Expressway. One of the biggest.
It's under the big push, I guess.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the biggest highlights in this.
All right, so
you know what? Budget.
You hold on there. Let me take some thoughts from Danny. We've heard, just like he's saying, he has cited. I mean, these are just confirmations of what the Honourable Minister, stated in Parliament last Thursday, if I'm correct. We have seen the Honourable Minister prior to declaration of any budget. We saw him do it last year, visiting various markets to speak to market women, to speak to shop owners, to speak to traders, and ask a few questions even before he comes out. We've seen him do it in recent times too. He was in Cape Coast in the Kotokraba market. He went to Takoradi and all that. This is something I have not seen in the past. And let me just ask, is it something we should applaud, or is it that he is doing something that probably he's trying to gain popularity from the average Ghanaian? Or you think this is just something we should just forget? It's just make gimmicks or whatever you want to put it.
This is just a sham to create an impression
that he's working.
He's not doing anything different. What is he doing? Going to the market, is it reflecting the things he's asking them? Is it what is in the budget? So we should, Ghana should not
the conversations he's had with such people. I mean, I heard a recent one where he was interacting with one of the traders, and the traders made mention to the fact that the loans they take comes with huge interest, and so they were in wait of the government to, start the Women's Development Bank.
How far with the Women's Development Bank?
Yeah, we've not seen anything come out of it.
So that is why I'm telling you that all those things are just gimmicks. It's shambolic. It doesn't change anything.
Okay.
I'll come and listen to you at the end of the day. I'll not do what you are saying. That's what Ato is doing. He's not doing anything different. So Ghanaians should not fall for that cheap shambolic.
They call it cheap politics?
Yes, because you why would I come and listen to you? And at the end of the day, whatever you say, I'll not take it. Why should I listen to you in the first place? So I'm just creating an impression that I need your idea. But at the end of the day, the idea I came to you for, I'm not using it.
Okay.
So why should we fall for it? And you see, earlier on I stated that what the NDC is doing is just a rhetoric. They are not doing anything new. It's just the old lamentation.
So are there some old things that we've seen in the...
He talks about tax that has been repealed and those things. Ato, in his 2025 budget, take off certain taxes, which the betting tax and e-levy, people hailed it. At the end of the day, he introduced additional 9 taxes.
Which
the first one was the 8% levy on petroleum products. That is the D-levy. They took off e-levy and brought D-levy.
What D-levy means?
D-levy means Dumso levy.
That
is the 8% levy on petroleum products.
And was that the title?
We are paying. That's the title. D-levy. He went ahead to introduce 30% increase in all government fees. They went ahead to introduce 21% VAT on life insurance. They went ahead to introduce, 2% on special import levy. They went ahead to increase marine gas oil prices from 23%, 23 pesos to 1.93 pesos. He went ahead to increase locally manufactured plastic products. He went ahead to increase electricity by 70%. We were in this country when they increased electricity by 70%. He went ahead to increase water by 4%. He went ahead to increase growth and sustainability. He imposed tax on growth and sustainability 2%. So it's like, let me take my right hand to give to you, then I will take my left hand to take it from you. That's what Ato is doing. They are not doing anything different. Ato, they made us believe that they are coming to create jobs. Ato, in his budget, told us that he's going to create 8,000 jobs. And he ended up telling Ghanaians that the over 160,000 nurses in the house, they are not factored in his budget, that he's not going to employ them 2026. So when you tell me, you on one breath, you say you are coming to create jobs, and on the other breath, you are telling me the over 160,000 nurses in the house, you cannot absorb them, then what job are you coming to create? That is why I told you that the jobs they are talking about is not sustainable. If you give people fire service backup, you give people to support fire service, it's not sustainable. You've not employed them permanently. They are not on the payroll of the Register and Accountant General. It's not sustainable. That's why I told you, the same way we did with NACO. And it failed. So these Ghanaians, our leaders, the NDC government promised better Ghana. That is not what they are doing. If I was doing NACO and you think it was no good and you are coming to do the right thing, I don't expect you to come and repeat the same thing. And my brother is here defending it. Their flagship program, the major flagship program for which Ghanaians voted for them, was the 24-hour economy. Where is it now?
Okay.
There is no commitment to 24-hour economy from the NDC. And whenever
what makes you say so? That there's no commitment?
Because if you are committed to a flagship program for which Ghanaians voted for you to come to power, and you go to parliament to present budget, and you allocate only 110 out of the 4 billion Ghana cedis, it means you are not committed to it. It was just a rhetoric. You lied to Ghanaians. You lied your way to power. And when you get there, you don't even think about it. Because one of the major problems of Ghana right now is job for the youth. Because, Mr. Fobi, if you even increase taxes and have job, I'm working, I will never complain paying taxes.
Sure.
You understand? Even the little ones, those that are working and they are paying taxes, at the end of the day, their taxes, they don't know where their taxes are going to. The development that they are expecting in this country, they are not getting it.
All right. That's fair.
This budget is nothing of like lies, full of lies, rhetorics. There's nothing in there.
That's fair. So we'll come back to you so that we see where the lie is. So Nazil, back to you. On the issue of job creation, just as he stated, we know that more than half of Ghana's population is youthful. And then we also know that averagely, a good number of the Ghanaian population are women. And on the issue of job creation, what is the government doing? And how is it even captured in this budget that was read? Because we've seen in time past, in the 2025 budget, there were certain implementations and we have not seen anything come out of it. What is different this time? Okay,
so before I enter that, let me speak on some of the things Danny is saying. Danny talks about lamentations in the budget. I don't know where the lamentations are coming from. If there are anything that the minister lamented about, it was the rot that we saw over the past year. However, I'm happy that he also believed in the 24-hour economy policy, and as a matter of fact, he has even read.
I don't believe. No, he should. No, I don't believe in it.
Anyway,
that is what you promised Ghanaians. Anyway, that is the basis of which they voted for you.
Ghanaians expect that
I'm talking on behalf of Ghanaians.
Yes,
because that is why they voted for you.
So I'm sure Ghanaians are also.
You should honor your promise.
Ghanaians are also going to have their fair share of the 24-hour economy.
When?
As I said, as he even mentioned, there's been 110 million allocation for the establishment of the 24-hour secretariat itself. And that is to lay preparatory ground for the establishment of the secretariat, which will now enhance other government machinery to make them effective. But when the president talked about 24-hour economy, he mentioned that we have to strengthen our security agencies. We have to make sure we have good roads. We have to strengthen agriculture before some of these 24-hour economy policies will take effect. In any case, when you go to the Ghana Port and Harbour today, and you go to DVLA today, when you go to the Tema Oil Refinery today, and other Ghana Publishing and multiple state agencies, the 24-hour economy has already taken shape. And
so, if you say they have already taken shape, I want clarity. I want the people out there to appreciate these issues. Is it that we have a system that is running day and night? Or
Exactly.
And where is that? Because I have not seen it. I'm sure.
I mean, the CEOs of these various agencies have made it clear. I've cleared a car at the port at 1 a.m. in this current administration. When you go to DVLA,
I want you to ask him, how many people have they employed through 24-hour economy? How many people are running the one job, 3 shifts, 3 people? How many people have they employed through the 24-hour economy?
As I said, 110 million has been allocated for the establishment of the secretariat. And the secretariat will be responsible for putting out some of these data sets. But as I said, the chief administrators, the CEOs of these various agencies have made it clear that they are running the 24-hour economy in their various jurisdictions. And he mentioned that it was not necessary for the minister to also be engaging and there is a charade and what have you. The kind of democracy we practice, as I said, defined by many people that we know. Abraham Lincoln, for instance, says government of the people, by the people, and for the people. If you don't engage your stakeholders, that is the kind of governance they were practicing. The aristocrats, they were just in their offices doing their own thing. The Ethiopia form of government. When Ghanaians demonstrated their distaste for e-levy, they didn't listen to us. If you listen to the finance minister, he said in his engagement at Kotokara, some of the traders told him that they need loans, just loans of about 10,000. To establish themselves. And they are not getting. That is what informed his swift introduction of the Women's Development Bank having expression in this budget. So you talked about introduction of taxes and what have you. I mean, this is palpable falsehood to talk about the fact that these tariffs on electricity and water were the actions of the government. We all are in this country. We know PURC is responsible for some of these things. And if PURC is introducing taxes, you don't blame it on government and what have you. However, he says there's 160,000 backlog in nurses and what have you. The backlog of these nurses started way back in 2022, 2023. So you don't sit here and whitewash your government. Any attempt to whitewash your government will not hold.
Let it be on record that since 2013, when his government was in power, they didn't employ even a single nurse. So the backlog, if he's talking about backlog, he should start from 2013. Okay. They compiled those backlogs. And when we came, we started employing them. We have records of when we started employing the backlogs, they left. So he shouldn't sit here and create the impression that it started 2023 or 2024.
That's fair.
I never sought to create that impression. So I'm only making it clear.
It started from your time. The backlog started from the NDC regime, 2013, when you went to IMF and they imposed on you that you should not employ anybody. That was when it started.
That point has been made clear. So back to you. Let's go back to the question I asked. So let's go back to it.
Sure. So essentially, when he creates this impression, it doesn't hold. And as a matter of fact, these employment gaps, they found expression in this budget. And if you give me time to go through the budget, we are going to talk mainly on some of these things and the jobs that are going to be created out of this budget. So I was on some of these highlights. That we're going to see Ghana's first 6-lane bi-directional expressway from Kumasi to Accra, cutting our travel time from 250 or so kilometers to 199. Which has never been seen in this country. As they mentioned, it's going to have 5 or 4 interchanges from Adeso to Ofuasi to Asamankese all the way to Lake Bosonche. And it's going to have service centers across the length and breadth of this lane. It's going to come with fire stations, rest stops, and what have you. That project alone is estimated to create over 30,000 jobs on that stretch. And it's going to open up our country as well. We also know about the 10,000 kilometers of road that's going to be created in agriculture. As I mentioned, we saw food inflation from 122% under a particular government. We have brought it to 26%. We are doing this to create, the president alluded to the fact that one of the reasons why we have a lot of challenges with food inflation is that the food producing regions or areas have problems navigating the roads to the bigger market centers. As a matter of fact, we are going to work on 10,000 kilometers of agricultural road to cut these food inflation challenges that we have. Now, Big Push was allocated 30 billion cedis, and there are significant roads that are being captured. And the president has already cut short for Wenchi Bole Sola Wa Road, a road that has a lot of people have suffered. I'm sure my brother in one of the NUCS congresses has also suffered. One of the NUCS CC meetings has also suffered to use that road, and their plights are coming to an end under Big Push. The Wa Tumuhan road is being worked on. Just recently, the Wenya Ayikuma Dodowa Tema and Aflao stretch the sword was cut. Ofankoa Masaman road The road that the over 700 million loan from Exim Bank was expended by the XOR government, but the road was never completed. We have decided to complete it with an additional allocation.
Hold on for me. Just for clarity purposes, you have stated a lot of things, and I want to see where the Women's Development Bank really lies. We know that over 401 million Ghana cedis was allocated to the development of that particular bank, which is aimed at supporting women in this country. Why that amount of money?
Okay, so essentially, as we all know, 400 million is the benchmark. That is the amount needed to capitalize a bank that is being established. And the minister was so magnanimous. He also added an extra 1 million to operationalize for the operational cost of the establishment of this Women Development Bank.
Okay.
And it's one of the most prudent policies that is going to be strictly supervised by Her Excellency the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman. Now, in some part, in infrastructure with creative arts and the film industry, there's an allocation of over 40 million for creative arts and the film industry. We are also going to see a renovation of the Accra National Theatre, which is long overdue. There's going to be a construction of another national theatre.
I hope we will not be faced with that challenge of, what just happened. The National Cathedral. I mean, these days when you hear
you shouldn't worry.
And it's a building.
You know the money. You know the money in the helm of affairs. You know the money in the helm of affairs.
We've seen
when it comes to infrastructure, it's only Dr. Kwame Nkrumah who comes close. It's only Osagyefo who comes close to talk about infrastructure in this country.
We have seen some past presidents equally perform well, like the former president J. Akufo. We've seen him
infrastructure, social interventions. We will bow to His Excellency, the former President, John Jacob Kufuor. When it comes to infrastructure development, it's only Osagyefo who comes close to the President. So as a matter of fact, there's no shaking, and we believe that this is going to be done. There's more about infrastructure that I will blow your mind on. Let's enter education. Nelson Mandela said that the most powerful tool to change the world is through education. And I believe as a student of Africanism, His Excellency the President also believes in the words of Mandela. And as a matter of fact, we have seen significant investments in education. No Fee Stress saw an allocation of 537 million. Free SHS back-to-back has witnessed the highest record allocation to the free SHS policy. The minister did 3.5 billion in March when he read the first budget. This year we are doing 4.2 billion investment in free SHS. We are seeing a 292 investment in free sanitary pads, 2 billion to the school feeding program, and capitation grants of over 157 million. Now, there's something I call the era of 200s. So allow me to blow the era of 200s. The president, under the tutelage of Honorable Haruna Idrisu Aduna, we are going to see the construction of 200 junior high schools, the construction of 200 primary schools, 200 kindergartens, all within the space.
How significant are these, policies? Because in times past, we saw the president, the same under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, build certain senior high schools, certain E-blocks at certain places, and we didn't see anything come out of it. So what is going to make it?
I don't want to find the expression or understanding the fact that you are demeaning an investment in education. Just as many have argued that these schools were strategically positioned in certain areas, they served their purpose. They were termed community-day senior high schools for a reason, to serve the communities which have been underserved and deprived for very long. Currently, more than half, about 80% of all of these schools are well populated and functioning. Personally, I used to usurp one of the schools in Ashanti region very well, and it is doing good as it's supposed to do so. And you know how Ghana, we still have schools under trees in this part of our country. Yeah. So there's a big investment in education that we have to do to complement the efforts that's being done in education. You didn't make me finish the era of 200s. There's the procurement of 266-seater buses to be distributed among senior high schools. There's also another procurement of 200 double cabin pickups vehicles to be distributed among senior high schools across the country. Then I come down to the era of 400s. How long has it been since you had the construction of teachers' bungalows in this country? The president this has found expression in the budget. There's going to be a construction of 400 teachers' bungalows. There's also going to be the construction of 400 places of convenience. Before I leave my teacher trainees out, there's been allocation of 207 million to teacher trainee allowances as well. Let's enter health. There's a common saying that a healthy nation is a wealthy nation. In 2019, in the heat of COVID, we had our former president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who mounted the podium and told us, fellow Ghanaians, as a matter of fact, there was an urgent need to construct about 111 district hospitals. Sword was cut for the construction of all of these hospitals. A very unpractical approach to construction. However, as we sit today, not even one of the 111 was completed. Some at different stages, 80, 90, 70, some are 50, some are even below 50. In the 2026 budget, it has found expression. The Minister, Honorable Minta Akando, plans to complete 10 of the Agenda 111 hospitals. We are also going to see a 2.35 billion investment in the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, also known as Mahama Cares, to cater for non-communicable diseases like cancer, diabetes, and what have you.
But hold on. These things you are mentioning, yes, we appreciate them, but haven't we seen similar things in the past with previous government?
I don't want to. You see, one challenge we have is that we continue, because of the hardship Ghanaian went through over the past 8 years, we continue to attribute and act as if we are under the same leadership. This is a different government. This is why we are touted. There's a common conversation on the social media that goes like Abba and Papa Abba. There's a clear disparity when we talk and do, and there's a clear distinction between the former government or the ex-war administration that talks and fails to act or fails to reach the satisfaction of Ghanaians. So believe you me, if His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is saying he's going to do, he's a talk and do man. His nickname is Osia Adeyo, and believe you me, all of these things will come to pass. We are also going to see 3 new regional hospitals being built. We saw a government create 6 new regions. No allocation was made to do anything significant for these regions. As a matter of fact, these regions lack regional hospitals. Out of the 6 regions, 3 regional hospitals are going to be built for some of these 3 of these 6 regions. There's also going to be a construction of 3 mini stadiums for these 3 regions as well.
Nazo, just a quick one. On the issue of the regional hospitals, we know that the previous government made conscious effort to upgrade certain hospitals who initially were not regional hospitals to even go beyond the point of making them teaching hospital. I remember the Efia Kwanta Hospital, for instance, was extensively upgraded to become a teaching hospital, and I know that was under the regime of His Excellency, the former president. Thank you. And a lot is happening, even though it's almost about a 90% complete. So at least there are certain evidences to tout the former government on. The
rate of completion of Efia Kwanta is less than 90, as a matter of fact. I don't know if you remember, there was a common conversation on social media just before the election, the construction of a statue right in front of the hospital. So you saw the state of the entrance of the hospital. That doesn't look like a hospital that's 90% complete.
That point where the statue was positioned was one area of the hospital where road constructions were still happening.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, it leads to the hospital, but you enter the hospital itself. Great job has been done over there.
A great job, which is not complete. And it also found expression in this budget. Actually, 5 different hospitals found expression, uncompleted hospitals, extra hospitals outside the Agenda 111 projects found expression in this budget. There's the Seria Hospital, the La General Hospital, and the Efia Kwanta you're talking about, and other 2 hospitals that are not complete. But the government thought it wise to also allocate funds to make sure these buildings are complete. Okay. Now, 7 hospitals are also going to be upgraded to also cater for maternal and child care services. Now, the disability fund is also going to be increased from 3% to 5% to be able to procure electronic wheelchairs for our brothers and sisters who are disabled.
I'm tempted to ask, with all these things, do we have money as a nation to do all these things? Looking at the current economic situations we are faced with as a country, I mean, you look at these economic situations have its connotations and implications, even with external bodies. I mean, on the international front, we owe certain countries. There are debts we need to clear as a country. Where are we going to get the money from? How are we going to, fund all these things we are talking about?
Thank you for asking me this. I mean, I've seen parliamentarians, legislators even ask Honorable Ato Force in the same question because they are confused. Honestly, the Honorable Minister of Finance made it clear to us that this country could save a lot out of prudent management of our economy and proper fiscal discipline in our economic management practices. And as a matter of fact, this government running with a lean government of 60 ministers, unlike 125 we saw in the past. This government, as of May 2025, was running with less than 50 presidential staffers, unlike some 900 presidential staffers we saw in the past. This government, you saw the Independence Day parade we witnessed, very brief, but very resourceful. The Minister of Finance also mentioned that they are cutting non-essential expenditure, like foreign travels, workshops, procurement of vehicles in the public sector. So you realize that we are trying to hoard off a lot of unnecessary expenditure to tap resources from to complement the efforts of the country. So it is not out of the ordinary. It is a conscious attempt by the government to make sure that we limit unnecessary spending and we have more money to waste on productive areas of our economy.
That's fine. We appreciate that. Danny, let me come back to you. I want you to look at the issue of the VAT reforms, where we've seen in a year past, we saw the removal of the e-levy, which you mentioned, and then you said there was an introduction of a D-levy, which you term as a Dumso levy, and we thought that it would end there. Now we've also seen the abolishment of the COVID-19 levy. And we've seen the decoupling of the GETS Fund and the NHIL levies from VAT. We have also seen abolishment of VAT on prospecting of minerals. We have also seen a reduction of the effective VAT rate from 21.9% to 20%.
Roughly 22%. Yeah.
Yes. And then we've seen a raise. They look to raise the VAT registration threshold from 200,000 Ghana cedis to 750,000 and extend the VAT zero rating on the supply of locally
I thought you'd be clapping for us.
The VAT rating on the zero manufacturing textiles from now to 2028.
So
how do you respond to these things?
Before I even go there, you see the reason why I said this budget is full of rhetorics. There's nothing in there. He made mention of NDC building 200 basic school. When the former president Akufo-Addo was coming to power, he did not promise Ghanaians of building basic school. But we saw in this country a day commissioning 80 basic schools. When they were in power, they touted themselves with e-blocks, which when they left power, they were contradiction of how many they completed. This is what the NDC is known for. Always they come out to just put out figures, create impression. We are doing this, we are going to do this, full of rhetoric. But when it comes to the grounds, they can't do it. Akufo-Addo never promised of building those schools, but he did. That is a man who showed commitment to building the country. Agenda 111. Akufo-Addo, when we were campaigning in 2020 and 2024, never promised of Agenda 111. But look at the commitment the man put in, making sure that we have these hospitals. When they assumed power, we needed only 7 million to complete it. Look at what he's saying, that they are going to complete only 10. A government who is committed to making sure that our health sector is at the top will commit of doing only 10 out of the 111 hospitals. Does this mean that they care about the Ghanaian people?
Could it not be that there are financial obligations?
There are no financial obligations.
Over the period of 5 years, you couldn't complete even one of them. Yet you sit here to castigate
over the period of 5 years. We started.
It was announced in 2019 in a peak of COVID.
It's not true.
Okay, so
it was when the idea of having those hospitals, because when we went into COVID, the challenges we went through, that was when they had the idea of, okay, if this is what is happening, then we need to make sure that our health sector is being taken care of. And that is where the idea came. Okay. So, and even with that, we never promised the Ghanaian people that because of that, they should vote for us in the 2020 election.
Yeah,
no.
I get it. That point has been
That's not what we did. And you talk about finances. Let me tell you, in this budget, the presidential staffers, their budget has been increased from 362 million to it was 362 million last year budget. Now they've increased it to 514 million.
What,
that is
what,
the
what are
increment.
the
That
undercurrents?
is the 60% increment in the financial staffers.
The
salary.
presidential staffers'
That is it. Go to public sector workers. How many increment did they give them? 9%. This shows you a government who is not committed to the ordinary Ghanaians. They think of themselves. If a government can increase its presidential staffers budget by 67% and increase public sector workers 9%, you think this government cares about Ghanaians?
Sorry that I'm cutting through. Are these presidential staffers not average Ghanaians too?
No, they can never be average Ghanaians.
Because
if a teacher,
for the purpose of education, let me chip in.
If a teacher,
if
a teacher
have the chance
is taking 3,500 and you are giving this teacher 9% increment in his pay, and you are telling a presidential staff, do you know how much a presidential staffer is being paid? And you are telling me that we can compare a presidential staffer to that of a teacher. Do you know even the allowances they take? You want to compare that one? Even the allowances is even higher than the salary of a teacher.
Do we have evidence to these assertions?
Mr. Fobi, that is why you are the host.
No. You are the one. You are the one making these assertions.
And I am telling you that I am making this assertion in this studio that the presidential staffers pay is like times 3.
So you may have to back it with some evidence.
So Mr. Fobi, if you are challenging me, they will not put their staffers' salary out there for you to know. But I am telling you, we've been in government before, and I'm telling you that you cannot compare a presidential staffer's pay to that of a teacher.
Okay,
even the allowance cannot be compared to a teacher.
That's fair.
And it was increased to 67%. If do you think if they take the same as a teacher, it will not be the same 9% increment? Why is this 67% increment? It shows how uncommitted the government is towards the ordinary Ghanaian people, because he thinks about his ministers more than the ordinary Ghanaian people who are working, the public sector workers. And then again, we're in this country. When he was talking about cutting down costs and those things. We're in this country when it was allegedly their own leader, Mustafa Gbande, director of operation at the presidency, came out to tell us that they have been paying 20,000 to each constituency every month. We're in this country.
What was the purpose?
Yes, that is the allowance they are giving to their party office. The monies that they are sending to their party office.
Is it from the public purse?
Thank you.
That one, unless you ask him. That is why I'm saying that they are not being fair to the ordinary Ghanaian people. Because when Ato went to parliament, Ato did not account for this money Mustafa Gbande came to mention.
But
where are they getting that money from? That is the question.
As a political party, what if they have their own source of funding? Their own source of funding.
They have to discuss it. Then this one, is it this man, special prosecutor must go after them. These are some of the things the special prosecutor is expecting to go after them to make sure where are they getting the 20,000 that they are sending to their constituencies every month.
That's fine. So
these are some of the questions they should answer. And my brother was talking about the big push agenda and all those things. You see, Mr. Fobi, let's be fair with ourselves in this country. We are not being fair with ourselves, and that is why politicians keeps on playing with the minds of the ordinary Ghanaians. Mr. Fobi, he was talking about the Accra Kumasi Expressway. Meanwhile, unless you are telling me that you've not been using the Accra Kumasi Expressway, when Ato read the budget, he said they are going to start the dualization, the expressway from Accra to Kumasi, which, Mr. Fobi, is a lie.
Well, what do you mean?
Because the Akufo-Addo of Anko and Sanwom Road, it's a project that is going to end at Nsanwom. And we know Nsanwom is Eastern region. So when you say you are starting from Accra, which part of Accra is that starting from?
So what you mean to say is that
let me land.
This project was started under the leadership of the former president. And so arguably it would have been fine or better if it was placed in that context.
Yes. Second, you and I know that as we speak, there has been a bypasses that is going on in the Accra Kumasi highway. There's a bypass, about 3 or 4 bypass that is being under construction.
Okay.
There, majority of them are even under 70% complete.
I mean, we have also seen that of the Accra Cape Coast.
That is it. So when you create the impression to the Ghanaians that you are coming to do this ABCD without acknowledging the work that has started already, it means you want to pass through dubious means to loot Ghanaians. Because let me tell you, when you take the bypass that is going on in Accra Kumasi Highway, as I speak with you, from Nsawam Pafo Chrome at Nsawam Total Filling Station to Apedra Junction, there has been a bypass. It was done under a Akufo-Addo government.
Okay.
It is completed.
But was that captured in?
It was not captured. But I am telling you that they are creating the impression as if nothing has been done, and they are now coming to start it from Accra to Kumasi, which is not true. When you get to Osino, there's a bypass at Osino, which currently is under construction.
Okay.
It started at Akufo-Addo's time. When you get to Enyinam, there's a bypass at Enyinam that is under construction. When you get to Konongo, to Ejoso, there's a bypass that is under construction. All these things are under construction under previous government. So when you create the impression as if you are coming to start expressway from Accra to Kumasi, you are lying to the ordinary Ghanaians.
Yes. So
let them know where it has been done already and where you are also going to do it.
That's fine. So Danny,
it should be specified.
That's fine. I appreciate Danny. Let's go back to the issues of the VAT reforms. I mean, the COVID-19 levy has eventually been scrapped off.
So as I told you earlier, all these taxes that they are saying they scrap it, don't be happy about it. Ghanaians should not be happy about it.
Why shouldn't
because it's just, as I told you, I will take my right hand to give it to you, and I will take my left hand to take it from you. These taxes, although has been mentioned that it has been taken off, new taxes will be introduced. So we shouldn't be happy about it that because they've mentioned they've taken all the, because these taxes, they know that when they were campaigning, some of these taxes were some of the things they ride on to get power. So if they don't take it off, Ghanaians will come after them. But they are trying to be smart in a way that we will take it off and try and introduce our own one. As I showed you earlier, they introduced 9 taxes when they took off about 3-4 taxes.
Certainly.
So
that's fine.
That's what they are doing.
So Danny, we live to see if these things will happen. Nazo, let me come back to you as a way of wrapping up even before we call it a day or we go. We have seen some expenditure measures that have been taken, and these expenditure measures include eliminating low rating programs, streamlining earmarked funds, i.e. supports job creation. We've also seen a freeing of fiscal space for critical priorities like roads, just as you mentioned, the energy and some on energy and education. We've also seen that they are going to make specific capping on non-essential expenditure such as the foreign travels, workshop and vehicle procurement. Don't you think this will make the minister unpopular?
Right. Thank you very much.
Amongst his colleagues and even agencies who are supposed to be in charge.
I think Honorable Dr. Kessie Latofosen was faced with this question in one of his media engagements. And he mentioned clearly, and that is what this NDC government seeks to do, and even the president himself, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. He doesn't seek to be popular amongst his colleagues, amongst the appointees of government, amongst government sector workers, because he's cutting away your foreign travel, which are unnecessary foreign travel, workshops and vehicle procurement. The objective is to be popular amongst Ghanaians. What do the Ghanaians want? Indeed, when my brother was talking, he mentioned about the fact that Ghanaians voted us into power because of A, B, C, and D. We are introducing new taxes, which are absolutely false. However the case, the average citizen doesn't have a problem with a fault with paying taxes. In any case, when the road tolls were being scrapped, even many Ghanaians rose to the occasion. Even in our campaign, we mentioned vehemently that road tolls shouldn't go and that we are bringing it back. Didn't Ghanaians hear about that? But they still went out and gave us an unprecedented electoral margin. It should tell you that the average Ghanaian doesn't have a problem with paying tax. But when you charge my e-levy, when you charge me emission tax, when you charge me COVID levy, and you fail to use it in productive areas of the economy, when you are seen dancing and cutting cake, when you are bringing out some of these levies, with the average,
we need to also appreciate the fact that when there are no jobs, how can people pay these taxes?
However, so this is to tell you that the NDC is doing some level of magic. even in the absence of jobs. And we talk about jobs in the past 8 years, we're
Yeah,
doing 14 to 16% of unemployment.
Do
Currently,
we need magic, or
They are still enjoying the
we
goodwill
need,
of
we need to
Ghanaians. They should
implement
wait.
the policies?
policies are being implemented. They are in the pipeline, and we are going to see in this entire budget.
This
It is
pipeline
estimated.
seems to be very
4
big.
years.
It is estimated.
You've already exhausted one.
It is
year.
estimated
You
that this
still have
budget.
pipeline.
It is estimated that this
Projects.
budget is going to create 800,000 jobs out
Which
of the
nurses
from
are
the
not part of
estimation.
it.
Please, nurses are in there. There are 13,000 nurses.
8,000 where
let's
nurses.
get a breakdown.
Atu was clear.
That's
Atu was
fine.
clear.
Let's
Nurses
get
are
a
not
breakdown.
factored in the next budget.
800,000 workers are going to be employed across various sectors of the economy.
Okay.
13,000 workers in health and 13,000 in education.
So those in
over
health-
the next year.
Arguably, are they the nurses?
Obviously, we can't employ people in
Mr.
health
Fobi.
when nurses are.
Mr. Fobi.
Even Honorable Minister for
Atu
Health.
was clear in his budget. We all saw the budget. Atu
Maybe
was clear in
he
the
would
budget.
have to point me
no,
to
Atu
which
was
part.
clear in the
So
budget.
Danny, we appreciate it. So
we
let-
can go through the budget.
He would have to point me-
Atu was clear in the budget that nurses have not been factored in the next
that is
year's
fine. Danny,
employment.
we
He
need
was
to
clear.
we need to go. So wrap up.
He would have to
quickly,
point me to where that was mentioned. In any case, just a couple of days ago, Honorable Minta Akando even mentioned that indeed there are going to be a lot of enrollment with regards to nurses and doctors. Now, he mentioned a lot of things about Office of the Presidential Staffers allocation being increased. It's palpable falsehood. The allocation is for the Office of Government Machinery. And I'm telling you, and just as you also know, over this, how do you call it? Multiple number of ministries that were collapsed. We saw over 50 or over 70 ministries under the XY administration. We've collapsed around 80, even if I may say. Currently, we've collapsed all of these ministries, and all of these ministries are now functioning under the Office of the Government Machinery. Talk about the Information Ministry.
So
of,
when you do this,
Information
you cannot
Service,
come out and tell Ghanaians that you cut down costs.
Information Services
Where
Department.
you collapse it and
So
you created it
let's allow him
It
to.
doesn't mean you cut down costs.
The
Let's allow
National
him to bring
Signals
that up.
Bureau, GBC, Information Services Department, Ministry of Information that was collapsed. All of these work. There are over 30 agencies that are
So
under.
are you saying that that's where the funds are going?
That's where the funds are going. Over 30 agencies.
Don't you think it would have been prudent if the Honorable Minister has stated these things clearly?
Oh, some of these things have
already.
already been expatiated. The Minister for Government Communications, Honorable Kwachu Fosu, has been in Parliament to answer multiple times on some of these things. The Office of Government Machinery is not functioning like it was before. Currently, we have multiple agencies having joined the Office of Government Machinery, and that's where our resources go.
right, so
He also
that's
mentioned that the average Ghanaian salary wasn't increased appropriately. But I'm telling you, when they meet at tripartite, the increment is touted or is compared towards inflation. When you are doing 54% inflation, you are compelled to increase by about 15 to 20%. We are doing 8% single-digit inflation. We are not being compelled.
We did 30,
When you are doing
we did 30 and 25.
when you are-
2023, we did 30% increase.
When you are doing
And
public
that's,
sector
and that's laudable.
And yes,
It's not laudable. It is
2020,
it is compared to
we did
inflation.
25. When you came, you told us the economy was in bad state. But here is the case: you are increasing the presidential service. What happens to the public
Salaries of
sector?
presidential service.
What happens
When
to
you
the
are-
private
That point,
sector?
Danny, that
When
point
you're
has
doing
been made.
when you're doing food inflation of over 122%, when tripartite meets, they're also compelled to want increments up to even 100%. So when you do 30 and 25, it is nothing you have done because food inflation is 122, and you're doing actual inflation of 54.
Okay.
So when you do
Alright,
this 30 and 20, it means nothing to them.
Let's by
Now the
way of-
20,000 he mentioned that mind you, Mustafa Bande is also an asset to the party. He's the deputy general secretary of the party. So when he speaks on these tones, he may be talking about monies that the party, national party, is giving out.
No, that's not what he said. That's not what he said. He
constituencies.
said the money
Alright,
that
so-
is being
so
sent from
Danny-
presidency.
Now, for
that's-
purposes of
money
edu-
that is being sent from presidency to the constituency.
For purposes
every
of-
month you
for
are sending
purposes- for
20,000.
purposes of
We want
education.
you to account to the ordinary Ghanaians where these monies are coming from.
For
where you are
purposes-
getting these monies from.
for purposes of
They should-
education.
I thought they didn't mention this one when you went to Parliament.
For
yesterday.
purposes of
You should have
education.
mentioned it where you are getting the money to the constituencies every month. The 20,000 Ghana cedis you are
okay.
paying to the
Danny-
constituency.
Danny,
Where is it coming from?
Since you have taken the floor, your last words before we go.
So my last words is that whatever the NDC are proposing went to Parliament to present, as I have said earlier, it's just rhetorics.
Okay.
It's just words.
Okay.
But by practice, they are not going to do it. That is what they've been promising the Ghanaians every day. He was here when you asked him about where they are going to get the funds to do it. He said they are going to cut down expenditure and the government travels and all those things he mentioned. It's a lie. When they were going to the UN, the ranking, who was this MP from Ashanti region, The foreign minister dropped him. But at the end of the day, they went with their regional youth organizers. They selected a bunch of them and just sent them there. Okay. They didn't go there to do anything. So when these people come and promise you, they come and speak words in parliament that this is what we are doing, this is how we are doing it. They are just lying to you.
Okay, that's
when it comes to the reality, they are doing something different.
That's fine.
That's not what they are doing.
That's fine. Nazil, your last words. Then
he has already said his last words. He had the floor before.
For purposes of education,
I've even speak for less than 5 minutes.
For purposes of education,
you cannot give him. Is it because they are in government?
It is okay. Yes, we are in government.
They are in government and I'm in opposition. That's what is happening now.
Certainly not on the show.
That's what is happening.
On the show, we don't seek to peddle the interest of
people. They are in government, so I think now they have more time than the opposition.
I think it's important.
That's what is even happening in parliament. They have more time than the opposition.
I think it's important that we stay clear. We are not on this platform to peddle the interest of.
Oh no. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Apart from that, I am saying that is it because they are in government they have more time than me?
No, they don't.
That's the only thing I said.
For purposes of education, I mean, our viewers, we owe it to our viewers.
Yeah.
When you see the Accra Kumasi Highway, there are things on it, and it clearly tells you the kind of people we are dealing with. The Egyptians, as Amakofi Boa describes them. There's been videos that have been shown on different platforms. I can share the videos with you. This new road that we are talking about, this existing road is not a 6-way bi-directional expressway. There's never been an expressway in Ghana. So it should tell you that whatever road you are talking about is not the same road we are talking about.
All right, so
there's going to be a new construction.
That these roads, what he's talking about already exists.
It already exists. But the expressway is completely
starting. Then this is a clear waste of resources.
However, that's his opinion.
If you have a Kumasi road where a government has already started a bypass that they are doing, and you come and you are also wasting money to do express road. Why? Only at Kumasi road. Why? This is a clear waste of resources.
He claims infrastructure development is a waste of resources from the other side.
They could have channel it to a railway line. That one would have even been better than also going to do express. They just want to loot Ghanaians. That's what they want to do.
All right.
They want to loot Ghanaians.
In concluding, I'd like to say that indeed, the fiscal discipline and prudent management of the economy we have seen from Dr. Kessiel Atuforsen, and the amounts that we are hooping in, 8 billion in revenue from Gold Board and what have you, 1.7 billion average monthly revenue generation from Electricity Company of Ghana, unlike doing 900.
Let me chip in.
Unlike the 900
because he has mentioned Gold Board, I want to chip in this so that he will.
These Egyptians can really worry.
According to Dr. Tahiru Mohammed, yesterday, according to Dr. Tahiru Mohammed, the allocation they did to Gold Board, as it stands now, not even 1 cedi has been given to Gold Board. So I want to ask them, where are they getting the money to fund Gold Board?
Okay,
you see,
that will be a conversation for another day.
This is something they are doing, and they are hiding. And we will get to the root of it.
He's running into my time. He's not letting me conclude.
We will deal with you people.
He's not permitting me conclude. So as I was saying, that the physical disciplinary measures that the Honorable Dr. Kessiel Atuforsen has put in place, and the prudent management of the economy, and the strengthened monetary, revenue mobilization practices that we have put in place is what is making us see the light of day. And indeed, we are going to make sure that whatever we have mentioned in this budget sees the light of day. Indeed, COVID levy is putting now 3.7 billion in the pockets of Ghanaians, and he mentioned that any serious country in Africa that has mineral resources does not tax mineral prospecting and reconnaissance. So it is important that we cut that VAT also from there. And the effective VAT rate of 22%, which was the highest in Africa. Can you imagine being brought down to 20% now? So I believe that all the things that have been put there now are going to conclusively, as he mentioned, that the objective is to sustain the macroeconomic stability that we have chopped in the past 10 months, and also make room for businesses and industries to grow, to be able to employ more people and to stabilize our country. Indeed, and indeed, we are going to make sure that we reset the country and see the glory of tomorrow.
All right, so this is where we draw the curtains down on today's episode of the National Agenda. My guests have spoken, and we hope that the government's agenda on resetting this country ends up becoming a reality. And then again, we preach and encourage the incumbent government not to necessarily forget projects and ideas of the previous government, but continue or make them even become successful. So we believe that once these projects are completed and new ones are started, we will then have a systematic progress. We will see sustainable development. So that when this government is not in office and there's another government in office, we would have another government or that government continuing with the projects that this government started and could not finish. Because at the end of the day, we have only 4 years, right? They have 4 years in office.
Just 4 years, yeah.
It's a 4-year term. So hopefully...
A renewable 4-year term.
Yes,
so
a renewable 4-year term.
Hopefully we'll do some 12 years.
Exactly.
That one they don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And so, gentlemen, let me thank you for your insightful conversation today. My guests definitely always, in fact, my viewers always enjoy you when you guys are on the set. And so we want to appreciate you for coming. And so I had in the studios Nazil Said, who spoke on behalf of the incumbent government, and Daniel Frimpong,
Abai Papa,
who spoke on behalf of the opposition.
We are coming back
Please,
2028. Yeah.
stick and stay with us. And just let's get interactive on our social media handles. Just follow us. Subscribe to our channel, The National Agenda, on YouTube and on all social media handles. Please comment. You never know. Maybe the next time what you say will be aired here. That topic that you bring up can be picked up in another discussion. We're done.